Hey YouTube, it's been a minute. I've been super busy in my life lately. I've got a new job, we've moved, we've been doing all sorts of stuff, and then all the end of the year stuff. My wife's a teacher and I got 3 kids and everything. So it has been super busy. And we are truly blessed. We've got a wonderful new house, and I'm now pastoring a little church, and everything is just, it's going great, but it's just very, very busy. And so this has been backburnered for a while. I also purposely wanted to see what would happen to the channel if I just didn't touch anything other than I've been responding if people comment and stuff. You know, I try to check in at least daily to comment, to check the comments, but I haven't been actively putting out videos, and even the last couple I put out were just the last few I was producing out of the old studio, which I've been in the process of dismantling. And my new studio space, this is just temporary for the time being. And of course, even something temporary like this, to get decent quality, it's been taking a lot of tweaking and tuning and getting this and that and putting this and that. So I've been going through all of that, and I am back. I'm happy to be back, and just thank you all for continuing to check in as I've been doing little posts saying please don't leave. I'm working on it, and y'all are so uplifting, and it's been interesting to watch the metrics for the channel and what's happened with me not producing videos, and I would say it's healthy that I'm getting a consistent stream of views, even not riding the algorithm in terms of putting out the new content, and you get that push, that surge from new content. So it's slow and steady, but we're building, and I have a lot of great plans for the channel. So again, this is just temporary. I've got a garage space. It's a detached garage that came with the new house, and right now it's filled with industrial tools. The guy that lived here, he was a master welder, and it was an estate sale, so we inherited most of his tools when they moved out. And so I've got to go through, and it's an industrial workspace, so it is not ready to house a recording studio and guitars and all that. We haven't even hooked up power out there yet because it's going to take a lot of tweaking. So I didn't want to wait the months that it's going to take to renovate that space to get back on the channel. And so that's why I put this little studio together. It's as much as I could just pick up and move from the old house to here. It's a much different space. I'm actually in our living room. I just carved out a corner of our living room in our new house, and I've got most of the same equipment set up and so forth, but going forward, there will be, once I get that new space, there's going to be a tremendous elevation of content, as I'm going to design the space specifically for studio recording. And I will have a separate workshop, which I'll probably do. My plans are to do the workshop first, because right now it is a workshop. It's very rough, and so it's going to take refining, and it's just going to take work. But I'm going to have a whole luthier studio. I've got every kind of grinder, sander, everything out there. And so it's just, like my wildest dreams inheriting this, but it's a lot of work because it's just piles of stuff, boxes, shelves, and everything. So I'm going to be working on all of that. But in the meantime, I can continue to shoot videos here. And so I've got a lot of cool content coming up. One of the cool things, I just acquired recently this Fender GTX 50 modeling amp, which I've just been scratching the surface on it, just running through. It's got 200 presets, and it came used, so it had the former owner's presets in there, but amazing amp. And we'll be, I'll be doing features on it and all of the incredible ways that you can tone. You can craft your tone exactly how you want it and have it all programmed, and I mean, it's blowing my mind, the amount of stuff that you can do with this thing. And yet, looks-wise, to look at it, it just looks like a traditional amp. So we'll be looking at that. Another thing is Will Red has been able to secure the channel a Black Star Debut 50, which is supposed to be delivered sometime early this week, coming from Black Star, and so very excited to get that as well. And what I'm going to be doing going forward for my demos is I'm going to go back and forth between the Black Star, which is an analog amp, and then this. They're both in the same weight class. They're very similar profiles, except one is a straight analog and this is a modeler. And so I will be able to do modeling and that. At some point in the channel, I'm hoping to pick up at least a little tube amp so that we can also do demos running through a tube amp, but all that's down the road. In the immediate future, I'll have the GTX, I'll have the Black Star debut, and we'll be able to do some side-by-side comparisons and get different tones out of the same guitars and all that sort of thing. So even though right now I don't have any workshop space and so forth to be working on guitars, I've got a lot of projects backed up that I'd already completed. I just didn't have the time and opportunity to do videos on them. And so check out, the channel upcoming. There's going to be the Frankencaster, which is, it turned into an awesome, super weird build. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. You got the Frankencaster. There's all these Japanese, made in Japan guitars that I've been getting. This Memphis. See, I got to get all my new angles figured out because I got a different view here. I got the Memphis, and doesn't really look like a whole lot, but this thing really packs a punch and amazed me. Another upcoming video that I'm going to be working on real soon is I got a clone, I got a second copy of the same IYV, the Indian Vena, the ESP style, the very modern looking LP, and I was blown away by the first one, considering it is a sub $200 guitar on Amazon, free shipping, all that stuff. I was amazed by the quality of it. Now, I got it right as we stumbled into all the processes that it took to buying a new house and getting a new job, and all that started rolling, so I never got to finish the series on that guitar, but I had this great idea in conversation with Will Red about getting two of the exact same guitar and comparing them, for one thing, because we'll be able to see quality control side by side. How identical are they? And break out the calipers and measure and see how precise are we talking here. It feels really good, but is it truly precise? We can look at two side by side, and we can test them and see, do they really sound the same, or are there distinctions? And then I'm going to take one and just keep it as a basic setup, just intonation and so forth, and not do any work to it, and then take the other and start the process of all of the tuning and tweaking and everything, ultimately leading up to modding it, and see how the difference is, like how much better does it get incrementally as you go through all the various processes that you would use to improve and upgrade a guitar. And so going forward, we've got a lot of plans for the channel. Having this new space, this is just temporary. This will get me down the road and I can continue to put out content and so forth. But going forward, when I get that workshop going in a true studio space, a true recording space, it's really going to elevate the content of the channel. And in the meantime, we're almost at the point for monetization, and I understand it's just going to be a trickle at first, but you got to start somewhere, and I'll be happy to at least be starting to make something on the channel and start to reverse the flow. So in the meantime, I'm primarily going to be focusing on what I have. Getting that second IYV was an anomaly in that these are often not on Amazon. They're usually sold out, and I saw one on there and it was still that low price, and I'm going to go ahead and snag one. This is such a cool idea, and I haven't done all that much. I think it was just basics, intonation setup I did on the other one, and so it has not, there's still stock. I haven't been doing anything to it, and it'll be really interesting to look at them side by side. But other than that, I'm not going to be buying any new gear. I've got to, just focus on what I've got, and I'm also going to be selling more. I've closed my reverb shop just for the time being. I put it on vacation mode because everything is in flux. Everything's moving and relocating and all the stuff going along with that. So going forward, I'm going to start doing features on, well, there's a lot of projects I've already completed that are just ready to go, and so I'm going to feature those. I'm also going to feature gear that I've had that I just haven't featured yet on the channel, and revisit some gear. For example, this Fender Duosonic, amazing guitar, and we'll talk about it. I was just breaking out some old guitars that I haven't touched in a while, and I was, just starting to play them again and get used to this new recording space. So I super appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for checking in. Just keep an eye out for notifications from the channel as we go forward, as I can continue to produce content once more. And I super appreciate you guys, and you'll have a wonderful day.